mean, in all honesty, unless you're planning on releasing your own music, why bother? And if you do decide to bother, how do you do it? Well, in today's video, hopefully, I'm going to try and answer both of those questions for you, addressing the why. Maybe you're just practicing guitar and have no intention of releasing any music, or maybe you do. And also the how, mainly in this video at least, covering the equipment you need rather than deep diving into the audio engineering process. And for simplicity, we'll group the process into these three main stages. And I'll also provide links in the description to all the gear I use. So let's start with a quick why bother. And I suspect you would fit into one of two camps. One, you're interested in recording music with a view to potentially releasing or sharing your creations, in which case the reason why to bother is fairly obvious. Two, you're not interested in sharing your music, in which case you may still want to consider recording, even if just your practice sessions, as it's a great way to improve at guitar. You see, listening to yourself play can be a painful experience, but you'll very quickly spot your areas of weakness and zone in on what it is you need to improve on. Think about athletes being coached for a big competition, say pole vaulters. The athlete will watch other pole vaulters along with videos of they themselves competing. And it's this analysis of our own performance that, whilst uncomfortable, can provide us with some very clear areas of what it is we need to work on, and maybe even give us some motivation to improve. It's like when you look at that photo of yourself in your underwear on January the 2nd. There is also something to be said about sharing your work, regardless of how uncomfortable that may make some of us feel. When we share our art, it gives us some purpose for what we're doing, holds us accountable for our own development, and almost never receives any of the kind of criticism we may be expecting. In fact, the encouragement that you'll more likely receive actually goes a long way in spurring us on to continue to practice and share more. So let's move on to how to record guitar. Well, in order to capture our performance, we could use the direct out on our guitar, if our guitar has one. But most audio engineers prefer the authentic sound and tone that a microphone captures. Now, there are many different types of microphones, and I'm not going to go into too much detail today as to the why you'd want to choose different ones. But as a starter for 10, if you are predominantly going to be recording electric guitar, miking up an amp, then you may want to consider a dynamic microphone like this Shure SM58. If you're planning on recording mainly acoustic guitars, then you may choose a small diaphragm condenser mic such as this Rode NT5. Or if you'll likely end up recording both and maybe even vocals too, then a large diaphragm condenser microphone like the Rode NT1A is a good do-it-all option. But for now, let's just go with whatever mic you have. And then a practical note on positioning. If you're using one mic, particularly a condenser mic, then the best placement of said mic is about 6 to 12 inches from the neck of the guitar, roughly around the sort of 12th to 15th, 16th fret. No hard science on that, just basically not too close, not too far, and not directly at the sound hole. Now, most microphones connect using an XLR cable. Now, this is industry standard for microphones and fairly inexpensive, so definitely worth grabbing yourself one of these if you intend to use one of these. But we do have a problem. There's no XLR input on my computer, and there won't be on yours either, Apple haters. You see, without going too technical, our microphone captures an analog signal, whereas computers deal in ones and zeros. Now, side note, you can actually buy USB microphones, so to some extent this part may be skippable. And if you are only interested in practice and improvement purposes, then a USB mic may be sufficient. But just understand that generally the audio quality of a USB microphone won't be as high a standard as that as a condenser microphone. And with USB, the conversion process from here to your computer will compress and discard bits of information. If you know anything about photography, it's a bit like shooting JPEG as opposed to RAW. So with music, if you ever intend on editing, processing, mixing, mastering, releasing your music, then let's just go with USB microphones don't exist. In which case, we're going to need an audio interface. which not only connects our microphone via XLR, but it also converts it to digital and sends that signal to our computer via USB. Problem solved. I use this Focusrite Scala 816 because it has the right amount of inputs and outputs for me and my studio setup, but there aren't many more budget-friendly options available online or down at your local music store. So to capture our guitar performance, we have a microphone connected via XLR, which runs into our audio interface and then out the back into our computer via USB. But what do we do with it once it's on our computer? Well, next we're going to need some software to record our performance, a digital audio workstation, commonly referred to as a DAW. Now, the good news here is when you buy an audio interface, even with some of the more budget-friendly options, there's often a light version of a DAW included in the setup pack. So in the first instance, you may not need to part with any cash. And if you're a Mac user, your Mac will come with the free GarageBand, which is like a light version of Logic Pro, which is what I use. Other popular options include Pro Tools, Ableton Live, Cubase, and many, many more. And then a practical note on input volume. Don't overcook it either here or here. Modern digital recordings have very low noise, meaning you can effectively record very quietly and then just raise the volume in the mix. Fun fact, in the old analog world, hitting 0 dB on the input used to be known as the sweet spot for recording warm vocals and guitar tracks. Now, in the digital world, somewhere between -18 and -12 dB is considered to be the sweet spot, with occasional loud bits hitting -6 dB. Stay away from 0 dB, else your recordings will distort and sound horrible. So our mics, cables, and interface enables us to capture that audio. Our DAW on our computer enables us to record that audio. Next, we'll likely want to process that audio. So we may want to edit out bad takes. We may wish to enhance our audio using EQ, compression, or reverb. Maybe even mix multiple tracks and maybe even delve deeper into full music production. And for that, we need to hear it, preferably not through the cheap speakers on our laptop. So last on our list is a pair of good quality studio headphones. Now, there is an argument that any set of headphones you already own will do. And that is true, at least to get you going. Don't rush out to buy something that does pretty much the same thing that any set of AirPods will do. But if you do want to take your recordings further, then you'll want to monitor your inputs and edit your tracks using the truest possible playback. You see, consumer headphones, and when I say consumer headphones, I don't mean cheap. I mean mass market headphones that are designed to give the user the best experience. These headphones often have some extra bass in the EQ or some other wizardry that just makes the music sound wonderful to our ears. But mixing music on these pre-tailored fancy headphones will give us a false sound experience. For recording and mixing in a studio, we need headphones that are true, designed to reveal any flaw in the sound that's being captured. They shouldn't make anything sound pleasing, rather they should provide an unfiltered representation of the recording. And actually, luckily for us, because these headphones have less bells and whistles built into them, they actually tend to be more affordable than the prices that we've got used to on high-end sets of earphones. So, microphone placed near the neck, running through an XLR into our audio interface, connected to our DAW via USB, headphones on for monitoring. We are good to go. All that said, before you hit record, if you'd like a few pointers on guitar performance, then I'd watch this video next. If you'd like to see me delve deeper into the real nitty-gritty of recording guitars in another video, EQ, compression, etc., then please let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.